kind of interesting to see all of this VR here at MIPTV in Cannes, France. I have never seen all of this VR at this show before. This is Adam Caithness from SimWave Consulting. You've got this very interesting, is this some kind of torture device that we have back here? What is this thing behind?
Not quite.
No?
It's our 4D booth, so it's a multi-sensory booth, so not just your plain VR.
Yeah.
It's got a rumbling floor. There's solenoids in all the poles that can shoot wind at you.
Yep.
If we had enough ceiling height, there'd also be a heater and a smell generator up there that would be blasting heat at you, and different smells depending on what you're doing. So if you're in war, you'll smell gunpowder. You're in the steam locomotive, you'll smell the coal burning.
That's amazing. All right, so you guys saw this VR freight train coming barreling towards all of us and said, well, there's new business that we can create around there.
Exactly. Yeah, we got in on the Oculus Rift Kickstarter, actually. That was our first sort of foray into VR. And our background is military simulation. And we know the military in Canada are not the biggest early adopters, so we wanted to try doing something else with VR and hopefully bring it back to military someday.
Interesting. Okay, so you're at a TV festival here. You've got a bunch of networks and broadcasters and channel operators from all over the world. What are they saying about your 4D VR experience? Can they see a fit in their business for something like this?
We've been getting a lot of interest from the VR side and as a marketing tool. So sort of bringing this around, maybe showing a movie trailer for something and having all the extra 4D effects in it.
Oh, very interesting. Okay, cool. So you obviously built some content, or you've partnered with people that have built some content. What kinds of stuff can you do with a 4D simulator?
Well, right now, the two main ones we have is one's a World War I Vimy Ridge 100th anniversary scenario.
Very appropriate.
Yeah, very.
Just happened, right?
Exactly, yeah. So you're actually a soldier in the battle with your gun, because we have a leap motion, tracks your hands.
Wow.
So you're walking through the battle, you're smelling the mustard gas, you're smelling the gunpowder.
Oh my God, that must be a little intense.
It's a little intense, yeah. It's we tried to keep the violence down, but still get the ambiance of war in there.
Oh wow, and what's the other piece that you guys have put together?
It's a steam locomotive for the Science and Tech Museum in Ottawa. So they have the real locomotive in the museum, but people can't go in it for safety reasons. So we went in, we 3D scanned the inside of it, our artists recreated it all in 3D, and you get to drive the train. So you get to see it speed up, slow down, blow the whistle, play with the fire, all the fun stuff you'd want to do on a train.
That's awesome. So what do you think is going to happen with this technology and this sort of this offering that you're putting out into the market? Is this something that we might start to see at like San Diego Comic-Con or something?
Yeah, absolutely. It'd be a great thing to put at a Comic-Con. It would also be great at amusement parks. Museums is where our target market's been currently, and that's where most of our clients have come from.
And are you guys building the software to go along with the hardware too? Or? Yes?
We do it all. So we do the software. We also have an SDK for the booth. So if another software developer wants to buy one of these and make their own software, they can easily pick one up from us and start doing their own thing as well.
You must have some interest from some third-party companies out there that I could imagine a first-person shooter experience in this would be insane. It would be so
amazing.
Cool, right?
Yeah. There's been a lot of interest from tons of different ideas, even training, the medical world, training, working with patients and different things like that, getting that haptic feedback when they're doing something.
They want to smell the mustard gas and have the air blowing in their face as they're doing surgery?
Exactly, yeah. Maybe they nick an artery, some blood starts coming out.
Oh my God. You could get very surreal with this. And actually, I mean, are you doing surreal, like space exploration type stuff? Like, it'd be interesting to kind of feel what the effects of something that most people would never do in real life. You can kind of do that now, right?
Exactly, yeah. We could basically do anything you want. We can take you to any time, any place. It's just a matter of how long it takes us to make the content.
Okay, well, I know that in every business, but especially in the content creation business, there are always ideas that end up on the cutting room floor, things that are just maybe too cost prohibitive or something technologically not available to. Where does this go? And what couldn't you fit into your 4D simulator?
Well, for space, probably couldn't do anti-gravity yet. That'd be a little cost prohibitive. And working an actual omnidirectional treadmill into it has been cost prohibitive. So we've come up with other ways of navigating in VR, using waypoints that you look at to move forward, or just teleporting to a new location.
When you guys were, you know, whiteboarding this idea, was it like many episodes of Star Trek and looking at the holodeck and saying, let's get as close to that as we possibly can?
Yeah, a little bit of inspiration from Star Trek, a little bit of the Iron Man lab type setup with all the holograms floating around, using your hands to grab it, and that's where we came up with the Leap Motion idea.
Right.
So instead of a traditional Xbox controller that comes with the Oculus, we have a Leap Motion on the faceplate, and you just reach out and you can wiggle your fingers and see them moving in VR.
So have you guys got an idea of stuff you would want to do? Like projects you would be like, have you been like,
actually,
just casually showing up at Lucasfilm in San Francisco to say, you know, this would be a cool lightsaber thing?
That a lightsaber battle would be awesome, and actually bringing it back to the military, we've been working on a thing for training jumping out of airplanes. So paratroopers learning high altitude, low drops, staying coordinated as they come down, and actually having the controls of the parachute where they can adjust how they're coming down.
And I guess when you're a technology company or a, you know, technology/content company, a military contract like that could be amazing for you guys because they have deep pockets, they got some funding, but that also trickles down into the sort of consumer products that you guys could offer too.
Yeah, absolutely. So starting in this summer, we're going to be working on a VR video game. It won't necessarily use the booth, but it will use either controllers or Leap Motion, and it will put you in a kitchen in a cooking competition against others.
That's cool. Yeah. How do you do something like, let's talk about the thing that's going to be in the Science and Technology Museum. How do you build something that's going to, like, have you seen kids play with stuff?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, they're abusive, right? Like they just start destroying things. How are you going to build something that will withstand all of that abuse? But B, are you terrified of that, you know, little hands just ripping apart this technology that you guys have labored over for many years?
A little bit, yeah. So the Oculus CV1 is not necessarily a public use system. It's fine for a conference when you're monitoring it. But Sensix has been working on a thing. They're the guys that make the OS VR. So they've been working on a public use one. It has the Leap Motion built in. It's much more rugged. And then much like telephone booths, if you remember those, the corded steel cable that holds it all on, we're going to sheath all the cabling in the steel. And so if you pull on it as hard as you want, it's not going to come out.
Okay. All right. We're going to test that theory. But I want to see a little bit of the tech that you guys actually have right here, which almost does look like a Tony Stark kind of workshopped thing behind us, isn't it?
If it was blue, it would probably pass off as a TARDIS.
All right. So take us in. What is all this stuff here?
So here we have the Oculus Rift. And attached to the front, like I was saying, is the Leap Motion. So this will use infrared to track your hands. It tracks the fingers, all the knuckles. It's quite accurate. And then on the floor, we have a couple things called butt kickers attached. They're basically subwoofers that cause it.
That's the scientific term, is the butt kickers?
The scientific term.
Okay. Engineers came up with that name?
Yeah. A bunch of guys with PhDs. And then in each of the columns here, there's solenoids. So they're down at ankle level, chest level, and height level. They're hooked up to an air compressor in the back, and so when you're in the steam train, at one point a valve pops off and steam and hot air are coming at you, so you start getting blasted with air from the valve.
Amazing. Adam, that was really cool. This is something that I think is, you know, kind of speaking to the possibilities of what VR and I guess ultimately AR and things can provide for people.
Absolutely. The possibilities are endless. That's the best thing. It's basically, if you think up something, we can create it and put it in the booth.
That's awesome. Do you have a personal dream? Like something that you would like to build, like a Starship simulation, or like what would you, Adam, like to see built into kind of a 4D environment like this?
I'd love to have a Mars-based station where you're on Mars and you're doing your thing to colonize the planet.
That sounds amazing. All right, good luck with your dream.
Thanks a lot.
I can't wait to be able to afford one of these things in my basement. That would be incredible, and you'd never see me again.